Okay, welcome y'all. How are we?
Doing good.
Okay. I'll start off with a thought. Look what I got in the mail. I got this today from the Market Center. Thank you for kicking off the Success Series, 10 to Win, Building Your Success Plan, GPS and 411. I wanted to say you did an awesome job. The agents were truly engaged. Again, thank you, your KW family. I'm sure Mel wrote this. Guys, I haven't got a thank you note in like months. Okay, months. This feels good. Doesn't this feel good? Have y'all gotten a note lately?
Nice. I did.
Okay. Why do you think I'm bringing this up?
Because we should be sending them to people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look at this. It's just some little cheap thing. No commentary. I don't need anything fancy, but it's not expensive. It's not long. See how short it is? Right? Just came in a little envelope. Boom, sent to my house. Feels good, y'all. Nobody
I
writes
sent some out last week, so my
Nobody
big
writes
goal is that
those
I
things
called.
anymore, right? We are making a lot of contacts. We're adding a lot of people to our database, which generally means we have their address.
You got to mute.
Who's making noise? All right, I'm gonna silence you. Okay, can I make a recommendation for note cards?
Yes.
Okay, if you go to, oh damn, what's the name of their, oh, I know what it is. Let me just double check to make sure they're still around. All right, if you go to Note Card Cafe, NOTECARDCAFE.com. They have sets of 72 cards with envelopes. They're real nice. They're kind of thick and they look like they're good quality. 72 of those. They're blank inside for $17. Okay. The cool part about it is they actually have some real estate ones. So I don't know if you guys are logging on, but they have some that are like door knockers and you know, I don't know if you can see this, but can y'all see that? See that one with all the doors?
Mm-hmm.
And see that one with like a door and a front porch, and there's a couple door knocker ones there, and a house with a bunch of trees around, an American flag, and a little porch swing, and a farmhouse, and you know, another little brick Americana. A quote about houses: a house is made of walls and beams, a home is built with love and dreams. Little key, you know, congrats. Happy first year in your new home. These kind of things. See all that? They also have some thank you ones, right? So you can buy a little thank you one where it's nice and simple. Thank you. Y'all can see this, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Right? Nice and simple, just says thank you. Right? Again, they're like 26 cents a piece when you do the 72 for $17. They also have some sets. Right, so they used to have like these like Thanksgiving ones. They've got some like holiday and Christmas ones. They've got some cool like ones with like quotes and inspirational stuff on there. They used to have this thing. Let me see if they still have it on real estate. It was almost like, it was like this rustic look. Hang on. Yeah, like these, see that? Like this rustic home sweet card thing, a key with an American flag on it. Door knockers, that kind of stuff. See what I did? See what I was showing you? Those are about as cheap as you're gonna find. About 26 cents a piece plus a stamp. I cannot tell you how much of a return on investment those will be. They even have COVID-19 ones. What's that all about? I don't know if I recommend.
Thank you for not giving me COVID-19.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I'd check out that website because that's pretty cool. I haven't got a thank you card in a while. Thank you card could simply be, I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes with me. It it sounded like you're super excited for your new job in Chicago, and I hope I get an opportunity to be involved in helping you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Right? Congratulations on your daughter's college graduation, or whatever you guys talked about. Make it personal. Has anyone had any good experiences with cards?
Yes, I have.
Tell us about that, please.
Well, cards and the what I was trying to do this year was make some of those football calendar things.
Yep.
And hold on, I'm gonna take myself off this thing. I was stuffing my face with food. Okay, so yeah, there are these little football calendar magnets, like the Bulldogs or the Falcons or baseball or whatever you think your friends might like the most. So I made a bunch of those and put a thank you card inside of it, just kind of like a handwritten card. And people thought it was so nice because not many people do that anymore, get an actual handwritten note from somebody in the mail, along with a cool calendar that you can stick on your fridge and see it all year,
Yep, exactly. I think that's a phenomenal idea. Phenomenal.
But except for the only problem now is we don't even know when football is going to start, if it's going to start. So
yeah, I guess that's a good, that is true. How could we adjust that for COVID? Yeah, I don't know if I'd do those right now. I mean, I don't know if like the college football season's gonna go on as planned, right?
yeah, because usually I'm like making those in the spring and then sending them out, around.
So I'd go on maybe some marketing companies' websites and just either call them up and say, hey, what are you guys seeing is for items of value for mailers and stuff? I've never really been a big fan of like recipe cards and stuff, but they're probably doing something.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. All right, guys. Tell me what is, I'm just going to throw out a couple of people that I know some stuff is happening in their world. Andrew has a home under contract. I know that Brooke Bartow just had her first closing earlier this week. I know that Stephanie Herbert has a seller under contract, and she's also a buyer, and that buyer's under contract. I believe Kim is about to buy a home. We've got a lot of activity going on. Donna has a new buyer under contract. Who else do you know that is worthy of celebrating?
I just want to talk about Jenny Vereen. I just watched the YouTube video that you posted with her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it was relatable, and I was just like, wow. I mean, it was really good. Not that there was any earth-shattering information in it, just the whole conversation with her and her journey of like taking a break from real estate and coming back, and then how she's just doing so well. I just thought the whole interview and the questions you asked her were so good, because I'm an introvert and I truly could do without people all the time. So I'm always wondering, how can I be successful in this business? And when she said that, I was like, oh, okay, because I can stay alone.
So now you got me curious, because where did you see that? On our YouTube channel?
Yeah, wherever you post everything else, it was posted there. Like, because you sent me to go look at the contracts.
Oh, okay. Because I posted, I sent that video, and Andrew and I did one 2 days ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet.
Okay, I sent those to Lucy to check out, and I said, you can post them in the big room if you want. but I hadn't seen that she did that. So I was like, where did you see that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good.
I'm going to start to do that a little bit. I have, you guys all have awesome stories, and you've had lots of success in your current world or your previous world. And I just want people to get to know you a little bit better. I mean, by this time, I'll give you an example. Ebony's been with us for like, what, 2 or 3 months now? You haven't met nearly as many people in the market center as you would if we were going in there every day, right? And so there's people that should hear your stories. And I also want to put you guys on a platform and congratulate you and celebrate you. So I'd like to start doing that with you guys as well. Thank you for that feedback. I'm trying to find a good blend between keeping it interesting, highlighting their successes and their journeys and maybe even some of their stumblings, for it to be a just this much of a commercial for productivity coaching, right? And for, like I said before, just to get some exposure for the people that, quite frankly, are earning exposure. So thank you for sharing that. What was the, can you think of one moment that you thought was most cool?
Yes, when she talked about how she got that listing for the 220 acres or whatever that is in Henry County. I mean,
Right.
she didn't overpromise. She was just like, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be the one to work the hardest for you.
I love that.
Yeah.
I talked about that on another call today.
That's
They say, can you sell this? And she's like, I don't know, but ain't nobody going to try harder than me. I just think that's awesome.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'll share that with, I'm going to post that on our, in our group today, just so you guys can see it. I hadn't publicized it. That just happened yesterday, by the way. I just hadn't publicized it because we're trying to figure out exactly what format we want to use and all that. And y'all go back and look at Andrew's too. Andrew was, okay.
His popped up today. I didn't watch it yet, but it just sends me notifications of everything it is that you're going to do. So I'm going to watch yours, and I'm going to watch the Jenny one. I want all the juice.
You want it all. All right, awesome. See, that's what happens when you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Is everyone subscribed? Okay, you can get notifications when I upload new stuff. I've been pretty good lately with updating everything up to date. We've already got everything from this morning up there too. Okay, talk to me. Let me just say one other quick thing. I know that Kim and Ebony were on the call today, but I do want to throw out there that we had our social equality or social equity ambassador mastermind today, where Mark Ellsworth and Kim Hutchins were kind of the leaders of our committee, and are basically inviting everyone in the office to participate to whatever degree they feel comfortable participating. What we're looking to do is, first of all, we're looking to learn, right? We're looking to listen to the experiences of our agents, whether you're an agent of color or not an agent of color, it's irrelevant. And hear we just want to learn from you, right? Your background, what you've encountered, specifically what you've encountered at our office, if there's any challenges that we need to be made aware of so that we can, as best as possible, level the playing field for all people, right? Whether you're white, black, brown, new, old, gay, straight, whatever, okay? If there is actions or a lack of actions that you feel are serving as a obstacle or a detriment to your level of success or your development, please, we are open ears. Okay, so there's going to be some more news shared soon about how you can contribute, and if you feel passionate about this topic, I hope that you'll reach out to Kim or Mark, or I can help facilitate that too, and get you involved with the crew so that we can start to make some positive change. Anything you guys want to share from your time on the call today?
I just think it's good that we just open up all kind of forums, because during COVID, there's so many new people and you don't get to know them. I mean, I was one of the lucky ones. I came a couple months before this all started, so I kind of know people around the office and kind of who to call for what. And so I think it's just important for all reasons, for the whole diversity issue, and just so a lot of the new people get to know what the culture in our office is.
Beautiful.
I agree. Like it was a good meeting, and I can honestly say since I've been here, I feel accepted. And it has not always been that. It's just like most of the places that I go, I always feel that I have to earn the right to be there, regardless of having the qualifications to be there. That didn't matter. It's just like, no, you have to prove to us that you were the right one for this, despite it all. But I think coming here, it's just like the information, the love, the support, that's something new to me. So embracing that, it felt good. And even just, the acknowledgement, of everything that's going on, that's a start in itself, because in my world, that does not happen. So I enjoyed it.
Well, that's the environment that we've tried to create over time. And as somebody that's been on the ALC for a long time and previously team leader in my role now, I've tried to be sensitive to those things. And in my opinion, we're further along than we've ever been. Yet we still have plenty to do. So I appreciate y'all making that a part of your day. And I, just my personal and direct advice to you, Ebony, would be, I think you should be grateful you're an organization that's having these discussions, but I don't think you should lose sight of this idea of wanting to earn your place, right? Because productivity is the politics of this office and of Keller Williams in general, right? And you want to go out there and this isn't because you're Black. This is for everybody, right? You want to go out there and show the world that you're here for business, right? You're here to make an impact, right? You're helping buyers, you're helping sellers, you're helping colleagues, you're participating, you got good energy, and it's going to be impossible to deny you what you desire. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. Who has some questions? What have you encountered over the last week or so that you have questions about? What struggles have you had lately? Let's kind of flesh some of that stuff out.
I have a question about something I heard on a FMLS class this morning. I didn't get to finish the whole class, but they were talking about FMLS forms, and one of the forms was a seller notification form about releasing the listing. So those forms are not GAR forms, correct?
That's correct.
But that form has to be done anyway for them or for your client, for the seller?
This is if a seller is terminating you, basically?
I took it as like you're inputting your listing into FMLS and you have to notify the seller that, hey, your house is now listed. I thought that's what that form was used for. Is that not correct?
What did you mean by release, though?
That's what it says, but it's form F110. It says seller notification form, and it says release of listing.
Okay, so F110 would imply that it is a GAR form.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hang on, I'll look it up. So now FMLS has some internal documents like notice of sale and these kind of things that aren't GAR forms.
Okay. I think it was listed in that batch of forms, but.
So F110, hang on one second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, seller notification form. Is knowingly, yeah, this is a termination form. Okay. So seller hereby notifies FMLS that seller has knowingly terminated seller's exclusive listing agreement with the broker for the property of the property address and the FMLS number. Seller has provided written notice of termination of the agreement to the first broker, and they may be liable for any fees to withdraw. Yeah, so that would be applicable if you have a seller that has essentially terminated the listing agreement and wants their property removed.
Okay, got it.
So that is actually not a GAR form. That is an internal FMLS document. Hopefully you never have that. May that be your blessing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, what other questions?
Tomorrow I go to pretty much photograph the guy's condo. He still hasn't signed with me.
Okay, why are you photographing it? For marketing purposes?
Yes,
Do you have a exclusive, do you have a note authorization to sign to show unlisted property?
I do. Like I made him get that.
So that would get them to sign, that would protect you for a commission from the buyer's point though. Like if you bring a buyer, you would be paid.
Okay. But
Doesn't
what
have
do
anything
I,
to do with you helping him sell it. That would be something different. Okay, let's back up. You have been courting a seller, and the seller gave you permission to take pictures and to use the pictures for marketing purposes.
mm-hmm,
And if you find a buyer, you would be paid 3%, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay, that was done by having him sign the exclusive, I'm sorry, the authorization to show unlisted property.
Okay.
Okay, so all that simply does is it gives you permission to market the property at a certain price. And if you attract a buyer, then you can serve as the buyer's agent. Or let me rephrase that. He will pay you to be the buyer's agent. You would also have to get a buyer brokerage agreement from the buyer to serve as their agent, right? But what he's telling you is that he would pay you,
Yes.
right? Which is great. We're getting in the habit of agreeing to stuff, signing things. Fantastic. He also needs to be asked and treated like a FSBO that you are in communication with, which is those questions we talked about before, which is you call him every Monday and say, hey, is the home still available? I want to make sure if it's not available, I'll stop marketing it. Is the home still available? And he says, yes. And you say, how many offers did you get this week? And he says, none. You say, well, how many showings did you have this week? And he says, none. You say, okay, what can I do to help you this week? And he says, nothing. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. Say, great, call you Monday. Monday, you call him. Hey, is the home still available? Yes. Great. How many offers did you get this week? None. Great. How many showings did you have this week? None.
I see what you're doing.
Or you also ask that question, were any of them agents? Right? And he says, yeah, I had 2 showings. They were both agents. So in the last 7 days, you have not had any potential buyers look at your property. Is that correct? Right? You're highlighting the fact that he is not being successful. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many buyers looked at your property this week? And he says, 1. Say, they didn't submit an offer? Right, you know the answer to that because you've already asked the question, but ask it again. Okay.
Okay.
So what was their feedback? Well, their feedback was that the home is too small. Okay. So no other showings this week, right? And they say, yeah. And they say, no other showings this week. You say, okay. How are you feeling? And they'll say, well, I'm really excited. I want to give it some more time. Say, great, I'll call you on Monday. And then you call them on Monday. Or you might ask the question, how are you feeling? And they say, I'm so fed up with the fact that I haven't sold this place. Say, well, are you ready for me to send you over paperwork? Because I'd love to get started helping you right now. Right? It's very matter of fact. He's either sold it or he hasn't. He either is frustrated or he's not. See what I'm saying? So we're basically waiting for him to crack. And in the meantime, until he cracks, you're going to market the crap out of his home. And the minute he cracks, then you're going to list his home. See what I'm saying? All right, back up. Take yourself off of mute.
So I'm confused. So I do the pictures and I do all of that for marketing purposes, but I put them on Facebook. Like, where do I not put these, being that we're not in a contract?
Okay, that's a good question. So basically, you're kind of doing two things simultaneously. Okay, one is you're marketing his home. Essentially, it's almost like he's your friend, right? This property is available. Call me if you have any questions, right? And the people that call you, you're taking a this is not a perfect scenario, right? So for example, let's say you posted on Facebook and say, hey, I'm aware of this property that's available, right? Or here's a cool property that's available in Buckhead. Call me if you have any questions. And then an agent calls and says, hey, I've got a buyer for this place. You say, great, I'll share the contact information with the owner. And you might get totally cut out of that. And that's okay. You may not. This is not a perfect scenario, right? You may get cut out. But when you get cut out, or when you pass along an agent's name to this owner, you call the owner and say, hey, Steve from Coldwell Banker is going to be calling you. My marketing helped. So go ahead and schedule an appointment with him. Okay.
Why would he list it if you're marketing it for him? That's the listing agent's job.
We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
It's a really good question. We're going to come back to that. The next thing that could happen is an unrepresented buyer could call and say, yeah, I'd like to see the home. And then you would book an appointment and show him the home and potentially help him, represent the buyer as a client and get paid by the seller to do so, right? Meanwhile, you're also essentially going after the listing too by having these weekly calls and checking in on the status. So Tony brings up a really good point, which is you're basically just supporting the fact that he doesn't have to list the home in order to get action, right? And quite frankly, that's true, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to show him that you're willing to work and that you want to help him achieve his goal. Simultaneously, you are, and this isn't a strategy you have to use, Tony. This is just a strategy that somebody mentioned in the room a few weeks ago that Ebony is using to try to deepen this relationship. Okay. What you're still doing though is basically still approaching him as a FSBO who has not currently been successful. So that's why you can do that follow-up every Monday, let's say, after the weekend when, a lot of people are looking at property and say, hey, is the home still available? No. How many offers did you get this week? Not did you get any offers? How many offers did you get, right? Okay, none. How many showings did you have? 3. How many of those were real estate agents? All of them. So no showings from prospective buyers this week. Is that correct? Yes. How you feeling? I'm feeling like shit. I really want to sell this house. Okay. How can I help you? Are you ready to get started? No, I'm going to wait another week. Great. Call you Monday. I'll let you know if anyone responds to any of these ads. Right? Meanwhile, he knows that you can't put it. This is one of the distinctions. This is what I was waiting for it to mull over in my head. Okay. You got to remind him, hey, I'm just posting this on Facebook and sending out to some friends in my community and stuff and sharing it with some other agents in the office. But the real power comes when I can stick it on FMLS and it goes to thousands of homes and I can make a bunch of calls for you. So what I'm doing is a little bit limited, and you can remind them of that, right? You're not getting full exposure. You got to list it to get full exposure. I'm just seeing if I can help you find somebody. But in the meantime, my main interaction with this person is our weekly calls saying, are you ready? Basically, you're just reminding him that he still hasn't hit his goal, right?
Yeah. And then he also mentioned, so I'm trying to do it on both ends because he wants to sell this so he can go to Midtown. So, he wants to move into a 2-bedroom condo in Midtown. So what the angle that I was going with is of course, know my stats, show him some houses or some condos in his area that sold and what they sold for, because again, his is priced too high. And then show him condos in Buckhead. I'm not Buckhead, in Midtown, to whereas I'm hoping that that gets him to one, lower your price because this is available now. The interest rates are low now. They will not be that in another 4 or 5 months. So the time that you think you
Well,
have,
they may be. You just create uncertainty. Say no one knows what they will be.
okay.
Don't tell them they'll be higher. They may not be. Just tell them we don't know, which is 100% true.
So should I even waste time looking at like, because I was gonna have like 3 different little folders, like, hey, here's the stats, here's pictures of things that are sold, and here are listings that are available within the same price range. If you know your home would, let's just say he sold his home for 225, or the condo for that, and then I'm showing him other condos, but in Midtown. I haven't done any research yet, but I am, that are comparable to that with more space. Should I
Yeah,
do
I
all of
think
that
it's
or
probably
no?
worth 5 minutes of picking out a condo or two in Midtown that might fit his needs, and say, hey, just wanted to show you, here's a new one. Do you like this building? Right? Hey, what do you think about this one? Is it too big, too small, too updated, too not updated? Do you need a place with a gym? Do you need a place with a concierge? What's important to you? Right? What I think is going to be most important, though, is he's got to get real on the price. Right? So you might go to him and say, here's a new listing that is on thousands of websites where agents who are paid by the seller to represent the buyer can pick from, that probably don't even know about your listing. And this is available. And it's available for $190 when you want $210, and your place isn't even any more attractive. So I just want you to know that this is what you're competing against. So the faster you can become competitive, the faster you can go live in this place. Does that make sense? And every day he's unsuccessful, he needs to be reminded. Right?
If you're marketing the house for him, I'm just a little bit concerned about that. You know what I mean? 'Cause
You're not, it's definitely some gray area there, but you're just putting it out there almost like a friend. You can even put a little caveat that says, this property is unlisted. So there's no confusion. Okay. What Tony suggests.
Isn't this what Brooke does all the time? Isn't she? Okay. And she's been pretty successful at it though. Like she just takes pictures, and then I forgot how
Yeah, basically she's just trying to drum up some leads. And when anyone says, hey, I'd like to see that home, if they have a realtor, she'll pass the information along to the owner. She's staying in complete integrity. And if it's unrepresented, she picks them up. Right? And there's going to be some times where she totally gets sideswiped, and there's going to be some times where she secures some new business. Right? And if anyone says, hey, why are you doing this? Say, hey, this guy and I are probably going to work together as a buyer and buyer client, and he's trying to sell his home himself, so I'm just trying to get him a little exposure. Simple. But you're behind the scenes, you're telling him, hey, look, I'm just posting on Facebook. I only got 200 friends. If you really want the 8 billion people in the world to know, you got to list it. Now, how many more weeks are we going to wait? Because your fiance is tired of living in a 1-1, isn't that right?
Could she could Ebony negotiate on the commission if she's going to have both the deals? If his biggest concern probably sounds like she's going to get 3% and that's going to eat into his profit, if he has a profit, could she negotiate and say, hey, I'll take 1% on this end because I'm going to make 3% on the other?
Stop that. Stop that. You can negotiate whatever you want.
Right.
But don't lead with that. He hasn't even told you what his biggest concern is.
Oh, okay.
Ask him. Ask him what his biggest concern is. His biggest concern should be that his fiance wants to stop living there. That should be his biggest concern.
He thinks that because he's done it in Alabama, because he's had property there,
Okay.
and he's
Well,
been
how's that going for you, sir? How's
exactly.
that going for you? Okay. I mean,
I ran into a couple
Say,
of
well-
expert sellers too in the
yeah.
Fitchburg.
Well, here's the thing. How's that working for you? Well, it's still available. Okay. So maybe you can do it. Should we wait another day? Or should we wait another 2 days? Or should we wait another week? When should I call you next? I hope you can sell it. I really do. But if you get fed up with it, I'm ready to help you. So when should I call you? Tomorrow? Right? I mean, I don't care if he sold the home before. The fact is he's still living in one he doesn't want. And more importantly, his fiance doesn't want it. We all know you don't piss off the fiance. Okay? Get her on the phone. What's she up to? What's she up to?
Well, she just sold wherever it was that she's at. They're just pretty much consolidated, but I don't think she has anything. I don't feel she has any say so. Like I met her and she was nice. We sat, we laughed for a second. It was a good meeting. But I don't know how much impact or say that she has in the whole process of this. So I've kind of just been communicating with him.
Do you have her email?
I do not. I should have her email.
So call him up and say, hey, I want to start sending you a couple of listings down in Midtown. What's your girlfriend or your fiance's email? I'll send them both to you.
Okay.
We just need to start enticing her a little bit. Hey, baby, look, 2 bed, 2 bath in Midtown. Don't you want to live here? I need you to get real frustrated with your fiance now because he's being an idiot up in Buckhead. You want to live here or you want to live in that little 1-1? What's it going to be? I'm dead serious, guys. Dead serious. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get her involved because if she's not driving the train, well, no one's driving it. We need to get her involved.
Yeah, I wanted to be a more sense of urgency. He's like, oh,
When
we
was
wanna.
Yeah, you
Go ahead.
wanna, but nothing ain't happening.
Exactly.
Okay, so when was the last time you asked him if the place was still available?
I haven't since last week. I've only talked with him this week in reference to timing, getting everything set up. But
When was the last time you talked to him? Yesterday?
today's no, I talked to him on Tuesday.
Okay, I want you to call him and say, hey, before I finalize the appointment for the photographer, I just have a couple questions for you. Is the place still available or have you sold it?
Okay.
You know the answer to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask it anyway. Is the place still available or is your home still available or is it already under contract? And he'll say it's still available. Say, hey, how many offers have you gotten in the last 7 days? The same list of questions I've been saying all day.
Okay.
How many offers have you gotten in the last 7 days? None. Okay. How many people have seen the home in the last 7 days? How many of those people were agents? Right. We're reminding him that until you get involved, he's sucked at being a realtor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to make that connection. He's not been successful. Ebony's coming in. She's going to take some pictures and make this thing happen. So we need to remind him the current status of him being a realtor ain't nothing happening. He's still not achieved his goal. I know he knows that, and you know he knows that. That's not the point. The point is you need to have a line drawn in the sand. Is the home still available or is it already under contract? It's almost like insinuating that it should be. How much is this place again? 220 something? What is it?
He has it listed for 247.5 for a 793 square foot unit, and he has 3 other units that are on Zillow right now for 211,000, and one of them had a price drop from 225 to the 211, So I'm just looking like, where did you get your number? Like, did you pluck this number from air? Like,
Yeah. So I just want to review the pricing with you real fast. So I want to make sure that we're a legitimate offer in the marketplace. And since I last visited you, I just wanted to update you on what the market looks like. Okay. There's one of the listings that was last time we talked was at 225, is at 200 right now. There's another listing for 211 in the market, and there's another listing for 222 in the market. So I want to help you, sir. I really do. But what would you do? Would you buy a place for 250, or would you buy one of these for 210? Let's pretend like you're a buyer for a second.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah, and plus there's probably lots more homes similar, maybe even better on the market. That's why they're still sitting there. They haven't sold because the competition's just a better deal, right?
Yeah, of course. So let's have another conversation with him about price. Say, if I were to find it, like, let me be honest, you haven't agreed to help you sell the home. You've only agreed to pay me if I bring a buyer. So if I go do all this stuff and I bring you a buyer, because I'm representing the buyer, I'm going to show him that, hey, here's 3 other listings that I could potentially be paid to help these people buy. How would you like me to sell your home for $40,000 more? Walk me through that. Make sense?
yeah, it's like I'm doing a disservice to my client. Like, I'm not going to
Of
make you pay
course.
that much
So look,
more.
I want to help you, but I just have a few questions for you. How would you like me to defend your price?
Okay.
Right? Because I'll use the marketing to go find a buyer, but here's the thing, they're going to go buy your competition. And then the sale's going to happen at 210 or even less because I'm good at what I do. And then we're going to have an even harder time selling your place for 250 because all the evidence supports it selling for 200, 210. So help me understand how I can explain what you're trying to achieve here. Right? And the guy's nuts. The guy's going to have to get back to reality. So all this like taking pictures and putting it on Facebook and all that, we haven't even gotten to that. We need to have that conversation with him about, okay, well, if I do what you're giving me permission to do, there's a good likelihood I'll find a buyer. Trouble is that the buyer is going to do their research and I'm going to help them do their research because I'm going to be their agent. And we're not paying a nickel over 210 for it. So can we just have a talk about the pricing now? Let's have a talk about the pricing. What would you do, Joe? What would you do? You can buy this place for 250 or this place for 210. What makes more sense? What would you do?
Yeah,
He's
if
gonna
you're
say-
staying with the buyer, you are representing the buyer and you're trying to get them the best deal possible. So you're working against the guy that owns the place that you've been trying to help all this time.
Right. And what you're really trying to do is help him get back into the right frame of mind, which is, what's called future pace, right? We're gonna kind of pretend like we're in the future. Okay. A week from now, I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to put it on the web, and I'm going to get a bite. And somebody's going to say, well, show me the other places that are nearby. And you'll say, well, here, matter of fact, there's one 2 stories up that's priced at 210. Why don't we go try to buy that one? Right? And you say, I got to be honest with you, Joe. I don't know exactly why I would help him buy yours for 250 if he can buy this one for 210. What would you do? Right? I mean, let's be straight real fast. He ain't selling the place for 250. Okay? So it's debatably not even an opportunity. You're just trying to basically get your confidence up here.
For the most part, this is like my trial run, and I don't want to be rusty. Got to start somewhere. So.
No, of course. And so really what's happening is you're using this as an opportunity to talk sense into somebody, right? What would you do? Just tell me what you would do. And you stop talking, right? You can pick this 2-2 or this 1-1 on the 17th floor for 210, or your 1-1 on the 10th floor for 250. Joe, what would you do? Well, Ebony, I guess I'd go to the one for 200. So, well, how do we make certain that they choose your home? Because don't you want to be in Midtown? You told me you wanted to be in Midtown with a place twice as big, right? And since you're representing yourself, Joe, I'll just ask you a real plain question, real blunt question. Help me understand where 250 comes from. And it's like $400 a square foot. Has this guy lost his freaking mind? Okay, so ask him. Help me understand where 250 came from. What evidence would you like me to show any buyers that I might find that your price is realistic? And then you stop talking. Stop talking. And just wait for that man to respond. I don't care if it takes 10 freaking minutes. The more silence that happens, the more awkward it's going to be. And when he finally says something, he's going to probably give you the listing. But if you come back in and say, well, if I can buy and sell with you, then I'll do it for 1%. No. Let him crack. He's about to crack. You follow me? Okay, does that give you some more clarity?
It gave me a lot of clarity. Half of me is just like, I don't want to waste my time because I do see what Tony, I understand it fully how I could do all of this and nothing comes out of it.
Right, and that's why we don't get married to our clients. We don't form these super emotional bonds with them. We can't put all of our eggs in this basket, right?
Right.
I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but you need to be flirting with so many people you can barely keep the facts straight. You're like, what was that guy's fiance's name again? What unit number was he? Oh, that's that building. Like literally, you should have so many things on the cooker that you can barely keep it straight. Okay? Because let me tell you something, Ebony, you are thinking about this man a lot more than he's thinking about you. Is that fair to say? Okay, that's our issue. If you call the man every week and remind him he's being unsuccessful and ask him the same questions in the same order, he will not be able to stop thinking about you.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
I had this conversation with my brother a few days ago. My object is not for the guy to sell the house. My object is for him to hire me to help him sell it or to buy it.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, the market is what the market is. Like, if let's say, I probably use this example, but I'll say it again. So let's say we have a brand new iPad. Okay, I don't know what an iPad costs. Let's say it's $1,000. Okay, it's a nice one. $1,000 iPad in the box with a bow around it, real nice, perfect mint condition. The market tells us that iPad should sell for $1,000, right? What happens if I try to sell it for $1,100? How many people are going to buy that? How many?
No one.
Not a single one. Now, what happens if it's in mint condition? It's never been touched. It's got a bow around it. It's in a nice little package. It's perfect. It's brand new. Can I sell it for $1,100?
You can, but I mean, still no one's going to want it.
Meaning I can try to sell it. I can market it, but am I going to be successful?
No.
Okay, why?
It's overpriced.
How do I know?
Because everybody does research. I did research. It's $1,000. So why would I spend more when I can spend less?
Okay, great. So you might have to share that story with him. Now, what happens if you try to sell it for $900?
You're going to get some interest.
Lots of it, right? Probably have a line out the door. Why?
It's cheaper. It's less expensive than a brand new one.
No, this is brand new. It's still in the package untouched.
Well,
So
okay,
the
well,
market value is 1,000. I'm marketing it for 900. How many people are going to buy it?
probably the first person who sees it.
That's right. And you might end up having multiple people that want to buy it. And if everyone puts out that is interested in buying it, what they'd be willing to pay, what price do you think it would ultimately sell for?
That
$1,000
11.
bucks. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it was like the only one left in the world, somebody might pay over $1,000 for it. Probably wouldn't sell for over 1,000, right? Unless it was in short supply or something was really interesting about it. But it also wouldn't sell for 900 because the market deems it to be more expensive than that or more valuable than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the kind of conversations and parallels that sometimes you have to draw with a consumer so that they can actually think about this thing logically. Does that make sense?
It does.
So he already knows the answer and you already know the answer. That's not the point. Sometimes you have to ask the question so that they can answer it the way they need to answer it.
Okay.
Here you go, Evan. You tell him if you're the highest bidder, you win.
Yeah, he's buying his home back every single time. Every day. Every day, baby. How do you like your new home? Right? Yeah, that's sometimes we have to use stories to help our people understand the ramifications of their decisions, right? And sometimes they don't actually understand how silly they're being until you ask them to defend it, right? It's just what it's worth, right? Like I don't have it anymore. I sold it, but I had bought some GE stock many years ago for $40 a share. Right now it's worth about $8 a share, right? If I still had that GE stock, how much could I sell it for? How much? $8.
$8.
What if I paid 40 for it and I really need 40 so I can break even?
Well, you're gonna take a loss.
Well, not necessarily. I don't have to sell it. But I only have one choice. Well, I have two choices. I either keep it or I sell it for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And the market's telling me it's worth $8. So if I want to sell it for $8, there's a market for that. If I want to sell it for 20 or 30 or 40, tough shit.
Hold on
You
to
gonna
it.
sell it for,
No.
right? So you got a choice, sir. You can keep that home every day you want. But if you want to sell it, you're probably going to have to compete with this one because this home is available and more people know about this home being available than know your home is available for more. So we have an issue. How can I help you solve this issue? Well, I don't know, Ebony. How could you? Well, first of all, you could consider selling your home for a price that somebody in the public would be willing to pay for it. That would be the first task. And once you agree to do that, then I just need to fill out a little bit of paperwork with you and I can start marketing it for you. Are you ready? And eventually he's going to crack.
After I take the pictures is more that's like literally should be the biggest thing that I'm doing for him because we have, to me, nothing.
I'm actually not positive I would take the pictures before I had that conversation with him about price.
I understand it, but like I like just to be honest, I really don't have much going on, right now. So it's just like more of
I know, but the question is do you spend time working a lousy opportunity or do you spend time going to find a better one?
finding a better one.
Right?
Can she run Facebook ads with those photos?
Sure.
You get
And
leads from that.
you could do it and say, this property is unlisted, right? So there's no confusion. But again, like you're walking a fine line, right? You want to help the man. You need a better price. You want some leads. Again, don't get married to an opportunity that isn't as good as you might think, right? But I would push him a little harder. Remember what we talked about? I call him, say, hey, I just have a couple of things I want to go over with you before we go through the pictures and some marketing. As I see it, we have, I just had a couple questions for you. Number one, is it in fact still available? You go through those questions. Say, you know, I've been thinking, here's what I see as potentially happening. I take the pictures, I do a little marketing for you, I attract somebody who's potentially interested, and then because I'm representing them as their client or as their agent, they say, what else is available? And I'm going to show them a $210,000 place that's just as good as yours.
Or even more likely, they've already got an agent.
What?
Or even more likely, the buyer's already got an agent.
Right. Well, that not a. I don't know that that's so important to bring up. The point is that I'm going to show this guy another option they could buy, and they're going to buy it before they buy your place. So in an effort to try to maximize the chances of you being successful, can I offer them a more competitive price? What price are you willing to allow me to offer that? Because if I offer it at $250, they're not going to buy it. I mean, there's no reason they would buy it if they could buy this for $210, right? I mean, how would you like me to explain that to them? And then you use that as logic to say, to get a better price. And then if he says, no, it's $250 or nothing, say, I'm just not sure how this is going to help you. You know, why don't we give it another week?
That buyer's likely not even going to want to see that one, because if you're representing the buyer, you're going to go show them 2 or 3 units. One of them's going to be the 210, and the buyer may even say, I don't even want to see the other one, you know?
Right. I'm going to help sell your competition. That's what I'm fearful for, sir. So Joe, what's the best price I can offer this place to? Because I want to help you sell. Because you and your fiance deserve a 2-bed, 2-bath in Midtown. Don't skip those questions though, Ebony. Is it still available or is it under contract?
No, I
How
wrote
many
them down.
offers did you get this week?
Okay.
How many showings did you have? How many of those were agents? How are you feeling? Right? Is it still available? Okay, I'll call you Monday. Call him Monday, same questions. But he's got to give you a better price. That I think all of this talk back and forth has given me he's got to give you a better price. A combination of you taking energy and time, etc., and just making him understand that he's just in dream world right now. He's got to give you a better price.
Okay. But you know what? I'd rather we end it and we not spend money on something that's gonna, you know, at all where it's unrealistic. So
Well,
it's
don't
better,
dump them.
just
don't
keep
dump-
checking. But
Don't dump him. He's about to crack. Just keep calling him every Monday.
okay.
You're under obligation to take pictures for that moron.
I think I jumped the gun with it. Like I was so I know I did.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
but
say I
now
think.
we're having a real conversation about putting you in his shoes and him in the buyer's shoes and all that. And you go back to him and say, hey, a couple things, you know, I've been thinking a lot about this, and help me understand how I can defend what you're trying to accomplish here. But only after you make sure he knows he's unsuccessful.
Okay.
And then if he says, no, I need you can take the pictures if you want it to $250, you might say, well, given the fact that we've already kind of discussed there's not a lot of evidence that $250 is an appropriate price, and you're probably gonna have to be closer to $210 to sell this thing, how long are you going to wait before you decide to move? Right? And then get that girlfriend's or fiance's address and start sending her some pretty places in Midtown. And that'll make them crack a lot faster.
Okay.
How you enjoying that 700 square foot place? Right?
Yeah, and then they just got a pet.
Little
She came with a
smaller with
pet.
all your fiance's stuff in there too, isn't it? Make them feel some pain. Okay.
Okay.
All right, y'all. My new time with my coach is 2:00 on Thursday. So I generally feel a lot more like in your face on Thursdays. Tony, sorry. You got me right after the coaching call, man. Right after it. All right, y'all. I'll see you in the morning.
See ya.